So this is Mark meets Noel Lyons, founding partner of Kent Lyons.
Hello.
Hi Noel.
Hello.
Can you give us a quick summary of your career today?
So I started out, when I left university, I got a job in publishing. I was working for Bloomsbury Publishing. One of my first jobs was producing the first draft proof copy of the first Harry Potter book, which they now go for hundreds of pounds on eBay.
And have you got any copies?
No.
Did you keep any? You didn't keep any. What year was this roughly?
That was, when would that have been? It must have been about 95, no, 96, around that sort of time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I sort of got into kind of book publishing, and from there I worked at the BBC, and then a couple of other agencies and a few ad agencies as well, kind of loitering around sort of kind of project manager role, and started kind of sort of doing more and more design work and also digital work as well. And around 99 I started picking up quite a bit of freelance work, and I worked for a few different sort of digital agencies, and at one of them I met James Kent, who's the other founding partner, and eventually my sort of freelance work got too much for me to handle on my own, so I ended up pairing up with James, and that eventually became Kent Lyons around 2003.
And what do you guys specialise in?
We sort of generalise. We specialise in...
Specialise in generalisation.
Yeah. It becomes difficult to put in a nutshell. So we do design, essentially. That's our main business, but we do branding and print design, and marketing and advertising. Lots of sort of digital work. So you know, we're kind of less media specific and more just about kind of ideas and idea creation, and then making things look really, really good and make them as effective as possible as well.
What are the most important things that people need to grab your attention and possibly get a job here?
They need to have good work, but our understanding of good work is, from a design perspective, it's having sort of good ideas, but really, really tight execution, really excellent typography.
Good attention to detail.
Yeah, really good attention to detail, but that's hard to sort of demonstrate sometimes, because you know you can do something quite boring, really, but attend to it really well.
Oh, yeah.
A kind of sort of a bit of flair, and typography is one of those skills that's actually on the face of it quite easy, and to do well, really difficult. And when you see someone who's doing it well, it stands out an absolute mile if you know what you're looking for. So that's one of the things that we really get a kick out of. Even for sort of our digital work, all of our designers are print based pretty much. From how they sort of started out, and we get them to do digital work purely because the strengths that you have when you learn how to do print.
Transferable.
Yeah, exactly. But they stand the sort of crossover really well. They make a lot of sense. So yeah, that's really useful. But just having really good ideas from a development perspective, it's about kind of knowing your stuff and having a kind of a sort of non-defeatist attitude. We generally the sort of development team here get given designs that are probably unworkable, and then it's their job to make them work.
Right.
And we quite like that.
And you mediate somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we try to mediate as little as possible. As far as we're concerned, we can build it. And that's the attitude that we try to aim for. Because otherwise, you're letting technology get in the way of a decent design.
How important is a degree? Do you consider degrees when you're looking at hiring people? Yeah,
definitely. For design stuff and for development stuff, a good degree from somewhere good is is pretty crucial. But I mean,
no matter what level they're at, you'll always look at the degree.
Yes and no. I mean, the first thing we look at is their work. That's the priority number one, really.
Yeah. Before you look at their CV.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, interesting.
I like the things that we look at on someone's CV is how well they've laid it out. It's really, it's a bit. We look at what university they've been to, and so we might know who taught them.
Yeah.
And that's really useful. We've had loads of people in from Nottingham Trent.
Okay.
And that just seems to be a continuous thing. That's not a conscious thing. It's just that these people have been good. Nottingham Trent have been.
Interesting.
Yeah, just cultivating really, really good people. Our newest recruit, Lucinda, is Nottingham Trent. She's, excellent. Really, really, really good.
So people that think they need to go to Ravensbourne or to Central St Martin's, actually, you can still do well and be noticed.
Massively, yeah. James, the other founder, James Kent, he graduated from Ravensbourne, and that's when Ravensbourne was really good.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's gone up to the boil a little bit. I don't know, should I be saying that? I don't know if I should be saying that. But yeah.
They haven't produced anyone good since James.
Exactly. He broke the mold, that was it. It's all downhill. You can go to various different places. We generally go to the New Blood shows to get a flavour of what various, and if something really sort of is exciting, we might then try and go to the degree show for that place.
How do you find it competitive at New Blood? Because there's obviously a lot of agencies there looking at the same people.
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
No. The thing is we're quite small and we've got quite a small sort of profile. When we go there, if people have heard of us, then they tend to be people that we'd like anyway. Generally, we're not sort of kind of that well known. But if people have heard of us, then they're generally producing work that we think is pretty good as well. So it tends to be a good kind of meeting of minds. So we don't feel, and we're not looking to recruit hundreds of people. So we're,
Is it as glamorous as people think it is to be a founding director of an agency?
Do people think it's glamorous?
I think a lot of people want to get to the top of their game, and there's a perception that to get to the top, to run your own agency is it.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure some people are very glamorous. I don't think that it necessarily goes hand in hand with it. There's a lot of sort of certain amount of drudgery that goes along with it. You've got quite a lot of paperwork that you need to do when you're sort of running a company. It's really nice. On the good things, when sort of the agency gets, awarded things or
recognition.
You pick up sort of new work. That's really exciting. Very far from glamour.
Did you, when you were starting out in your career, did you have an aim to have your own agency, or it just kind of happened?
Actually, from a fairly early point in my career. I sort of noticed that, I'm not necessarily a great employee, so I knew my own mind, and I.
Why would you say you weren't a particularly good employee?
Because I used to disagree with people, and I used to think that I knew better than them, which was kind of sort of youthful arrogance probably, but it struck me that the only way I could be sure of doing things that I kind of thought, that's the right way to do it, would be to be doing it myself. And there seems to be, from my point of view, there's no benefit to working for someone else when you can work for yourself. If you can make that work, then I'm much more interested in that.
And what advice would you give people who are potentially looking at this point in their career to maybe set up on their own?
It's a terrible idea.
Because you don't want any more competitors.
They should really forget it. It's a swamped market. Just don't even bother. Just give up. Turn to accountancy. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. I think that you're much more in control of your own destiny, although I've chatted about this to people recently, and I was quite interested because it's a default setting for me to do stuff myself and to run my own business. That's just seems obvious to me. And so I was chatting to someone else who's in a different line of work but very successful. And they have no inclination to set up on their own. They're very happy with someone else having all of the, dealing with everyone's pay slips and P45s and all of that kind of sort of slightly yawnsome kind of stuff that you have to deal with, and renting places out and whatever, paying electricity bills. No time for that at all. Just wanted to get on and do a particular bit of work, and he made quite a convincing argument. I couldn't understand it at all, but he was quite convincing about it. So I mean, if you find yourself sort of disagreeing with what other people are doing and other people's decisions, then probably running your own thing is either a good idea or you have no common sense.
What about people that don't necessarily have enough money? Because there's obviously a perception that you need to have money behind you to get going.
No, you don't need any money at all. I mean, you do if you want to get a premises straight away. You do if you need to buy a lot of equipment. If you don't have a computer at home, then you need to spend on that. But I mean, the actual resources. We started out and we were working out of our bedrooms. Before we set up Kent Lyons, we were sort of freelancing sort of collective, and that was out of sort of spare rooms. And that was absolutely fine, and we were quite able to function, and to the point where we had to form Kent Lyons as a much more established company because we had too much going on. So the barrier to entry is really low, I think, financially. You don't need to have a lot.
Who inspires you creatively?
There's loads of people, and it really varies on a sort of daily basis, really. Most recently, I've been really inspired by and kind of, sort of professionally envious of Senep, who are they just do things right. They just know what they're doing, and there's not many people digitally who I think are any good. I have very, very low respect for most of the sort of digital industry. Lots of very clever people, but just doing a lot of really terrible stuff.
Which is why you set up by yourself.
Yeah, yes, well, that might be it. But people like Senep, are doing things right.
Are there individual designers or creatives over the years, maybe in packaging, print, digital, who particularly or advertising that particularly stand out that you've looked up to? I mean, the ones for me, the kind of tend to be sort of the kind of sort of Yugo Nakamura, Dieter Rams, the sort of kind of quite big thinking, but detail focused. Sort of designers, they because they just sort of seem to do really amazing things. And what country do you think is producing the best designers in the world at the moment?
Oh God, UK's pretty strong. I mean, for my tastes, it differs obviously depending on what kind of things you like. There's some really good ideas stuff coming from the Netherlands at the moment. Some really strong stuff there. But I think the UK is pretty decent.
And what's your favourite piece of design or product of all time?
This really changes, and it's never kind of. I've got a little barbecue in a tin kind of thing, a cob grill it's called, and that just is awesome because it's so clever. Because the wind can sort of get in through this mesh grill and then circulate around, and so you can just put this coconut briquette on it. And cook stuff when you go camping, and it's just and you can pick it up because it's cold to the touch on the outside, and it's just a genius bit of engineering, and you just think, wow, the person who made that must be really tough. It didn't look great, but
functionally,
it works so amazingly. I really like that. And that tends to be kind of things that. That's the one I sort of focus on the most really at the moment.
Okay, let's move on to a quick fire round.
Yep.
Can Lion or D&AD pencil?
Oh, D&AD pencil.
Fruit or veg?
Veg.
Art directors or copywriters?
Copywriters.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Degree or no degree?
Degree.
Ant or deck?
Deck.
Retained work or pitch work?
Oh, retained work. God, yeah.
Web or mobile?
Oh, good one. Wobile.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
Yeah, independent agencies.
Didn't know you were going to say that one.
No.
Outsourced production or on-site production?
On-site.
And lastly, twist or stick?
Oh, twist.
Thanks very much.
Nice one.